Hello, sixth graders. Today we're going to go over how to create an oral presentation. Um, in Unit 1, your assignment 13 is called Persuasive Oral Presentation, and that basically means an oral report. So I'm going to show you how you're going to do that today. And then you're going to go ahead and do that, and you're going to have to um, either you can call me and give your oral report to me over the phone, or we can go into my live office and you can give your oral report to me there. So let's see what the assignment is first. Um, so this is the next few slides are going to be the actual assignment that is on your Odysseyware, in your lessons. So I'm going to read through this to you. Persuasive oral presentation. In this report, you will discuss a problem and then suggest a solution for the problem. An example problem would be a decrease in library hours at your school due to tax cutbacks. Okay, now I know you guys obviously go to an online school, but just imagine this is an example, not something that you actually have to do. So let's imagine that you go to school from 8:30 to 3:30 every day. Now imagine that instead of having your library's hours from 8 to 4:30, your school is proposing that the hours be from 7:30 to 3:30. How would this affect you and your classmates? You might notice that some of the problems would be you would lose 30 minutes of library time on your school campus. You would need to get to school even earlier if you were going to use the library. Getting to school 30 minutes earlier might be very hard for some students and their parents. The inability to stay after school and use the library would cause tremendous problems for the students who could not come in early. Now imagine that you are going to argue against this proposal. So in other words, in this example, they're going to argue against reducing the library hours. So you are going to have to think of a problem in your community or in our state or the country or the world. Think of a problem and find out how someone proposes to solve this problem. And then you have to find a problem that people are trying to solve, and you have to argue against it. You have to not be in favor of it. You're not going to like that. So you're going to argue against it. So the next part of the assignment is solution. What would you suggest as a solution to this problem? Now going back to the example of the library hours being cut back, perhaps you would create a survey to see when your classmates use the library the most. Or perhaps you would say that the school simply cannot change the library hours. Or maybe you would suggest that if the library hours must be cut, that they go from 8 to 4 instead of the proposed hours based on the survey you conducted. There are many other options too. Okay, so again, this is only the example they're using, not what you have to do. You have to think of your own problem. So you would also have to prepare yourself for arguments against your proposal. Some people might argue that the earlier hours are a better solution, but if you had your survey that suggested the later hours would help more students, then you would have successfully argued against someone else's objections. When you include not only your ideas but are able to argue against your opposition's ideas, you are making your proposal stronger and more persuasive. That means that your argument is a good one and you are getting people to see your side of things rather than the other side of things. So you have to think about a problem that you want to argue against and tell why your way is better. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Your turn. So it's now. This is in the real world. It's your turn to look around you and see what issues are in your community, it should say, the country, or the world. Okay, so you need to look at your local, state, or nationwide newspaper or at a news website and find a problem that interests you. Ask your parents and neighbors what an issue is that they have. Spend some time researching an issue that you have an interest in arguing against. Make sure that you understand the issue completely and thoroughly. Okay, that is part of your assignment. So next, you come up with some solutions to the problem. How would you solve the problem or issue if you could? Make sure that you have a couple of proposed solutions before or that you can talk about. You must consider what the objections to your proposal would be. So in other words, think about what people might say against what your solutions might be. You must consider what the objections to your proposal will be. Be sure to discuss why your solution is better than any arguments someone thinks up. Look at the checklist on the next page to help you organize your presentation and thoughts. Okay, so in other words, this isn't just going to be some little paragraph that you read. This is going to have to be a researched report that you write and that you have to present orally. That means out loud, reading it out loud. Okay, so here's your oral presentation checklist. First, you have to look at news sources to choose a problem that interests you. So news sources are newspapers or news websites, and I've listed some later in here that you can look at if you don't have a newspaper to look at. So you have to describe the problem clearly. So you found a problem in the newspaper, and now you have to describe what the problem is, and that's without giving any solutions or opinions, okay, and in your own words. Okay, remember that we're not going to copy someone else's work. You're going to read and put it into your own words. Okay, so then you have to research to find solutions. Okay, you have to gather facts and evidence that support your solution. Expert opinions are useful at this point. So when you're researching on the internet or in another newspaper or book, be sure to look for studies that were done or someone who is an expert in that field to use as evidence or reasons why your solution is the best. So you're going to organize your solution step by step. Then you're going to offer persuasive evidence to validate the problem and your proposed solution. That means that you are going to try to persuade someone or to get them to see your point and your proposed solution, why yours is the best. So you include objections you find in your research and explain why you feel your solution is better. Objections are people that are against that way of doing things. So you find solutions, expert opinions as to why your solution is the best, list reasons why, and then also list what people are saying that are opposite you or are against you, and tell why your solution is better. Okay, so here we go on to the next. Let's see. So timing. Your persuasive oral presentation should be about 3 to 5 minutes long, so that's not quick. All right, you might want to include a chart or a diagram that would help you to present your argument in a visual way. And if you do that, you're going to attach that to your first question box in assignment 13 in Odysseyware. Or you can email it to me if you have a chart or a diagram or a picture that helps you to support your opinion. Okay, and so it says keep calm and speak slower. So I don't want you to just blow through your reading it really, really fast to me. Okay, you need to practice first. Practice reading your presentation slowly, and even if it sounds really slow to you, then you need to just keep it that way, because to people listening to it, they need to have time to absorb what you're saying and think about what you're saying. So go slowly and use expression. So you need to practice reading in front of the mirror or to a pet or to a stuffed animal or to a parent or to a sibling. Practice at least 3 times before you read your presentation to me. Let's go on. So, here's what you're going to do. You're going to look in a newspaper to find a problem in your community, in the state, or in the world. If you don't have access to a newspaper, look at articles on idahostatesman.com or idahopresstribune.com or any other very reputable news sites. Okay? Don't get one that's, nobody knows about. It would have to be something big if you didn't use those, New York Times or, something big and well known. Okay, so then you're going to start a new document on your computer with notes for this project. Don't just start in writing, write notes. Type out some notes of what you find, what your problem is, what are some possible solutions, what solution you think you might like to argue for. Write some notes, and along the way, do not forget to write down where you got your information, what news websites. Okay, you begin by stating the problem clearly but in your own words. Never copy directly what people have said. You have to interpret things into your own words. Don't forget to keep track of your sources while you're researching. That's where you found your information. If you've found your article with the problem on one website, then you need to research on other websites. Okay, I want you to use at least 3 sources for your information, not just one. Okay, so find your problem, make notes about your problem, and then find some possible solutions and start looking for expert opinions. Okay, so research at least 3 sources for solutions to your problem. Gather evidence and facts, not opinions, to state why this solution would work. Oops, sorry about that. Let me get that back into the square where you can see it. Look for experts and look for studies that have been done. Again, write in your own words. Organize. Organize your argument step by step. What comes first? That would be your first paragraph of your argument after your introduction. Then what comes next? What's the next part of your solution? Then what comes? And then what comes last? And after all of those, that's your argument. Then you work on your conclusion. All right, and don't forget to use proof, use evidence you found to persuade your listener to believe that your solution is the best. Remember, use experts and facts to back you up. Include objections or disagreements you found in your research and state why your solution is better. If you found a chart, diagram, map, etc., be sure to include it in your presentation. And now we're at the end. Your conclusion is going to be to wrap up your presentation by stating the problem and your solution again, and give a brief summary of why. Cite all the sources you use, even where you got a diagram, chart, map, or whatever. Refer back to the course overview for your language arts course for how to cite sources properly. That means how to write down where you got something. Okay, so then when you are all done with this, you've written up your presentation, you've practiced it at least 3 times, you time it to make sure that you're going slowly enough. You are going to arrange a time with me to meet in my live office online, or call me and give your presentation, and then I'll give you a grade. So you go through all of this, and then you have to contact me in some way. Okay, so you can either give me a call and tell me who you are and that you're ready for your oral presentation, and we will arrange a time for that, or you can email me or message me in OW. Okay, those are all the things you have to do before you can get a grade for your assignment. So again, if you have any questions, you are going to contact me. And also, for watching this recording of this project, You also need to call me again before you do your oral presentation to tell me that you watched this, and I'll ask you a couple of questions about it. And then you can get your grade for watching the presentation of the live class. And then the next project after that is to do your actual oral presentation. So you'll have to call me a couple of times. So again, right after you watch this recording, call me and we'll discuss it, and then you'll do your actual oral presentation. Okay, and I hope to hear from all of you soon. Goodbye.